Today I'm just going to talk about an exciting new development with Octopus Intelligent. So I'm on Octopus Intelligent and I'm using it with Predbat. And fantastically, Octopus now have said that you can have the Octopus Agile outgoing, which is the variable rate outgoing tariff, combined with the Intelligent, where you get the really cheap import rates. As you can see here, I'm getting import of 7.5p together with the variable export rates that are peaking up to about 20 odd p in the daytime. You can also have the fixed 15p export rate throughout the entire day. So you've got two choices now, whereas before it was only the 4p. So I've set this up with my Predbat installation, and I'm just going to talk about what it's actually doing here. You might find this interesting. So if you look at the chart on the right, you can see that we're going to be charging to 100% every night. Why? Because the export rates are actually higher in the day than the import rates are at night. So now we're going to try and maximize our export. I haven't done anything particularly special here. I'm just going to have a look at my settings, and you can see at the moment I have actually got discharge enabled, but I've got discharge freeze off. Let me just see where's the calculate best discharges on and set discharge window. So if you look at the chart, and we can zoom in a little bit here and it'll be easier to read, we can see what's going on. So we can see the 100% charge overnight on the yellow colour, and we can see that in the day we've got this forced export that's happening. And so rather nicely, I'm getting a forced export happening in the evening. And this slot width will change depending on my spare energy and what I set my min SOC keep to. So I set my min SOC keep to 1.5, and it's getting to about 1.6 at the end of the day. So that's about right based on how I've set it. So it's going to time that export for the peak period tomorrow. Because I'm charging to 100% overnight, I've got a bit more spare export, and it's going to have a slightly longer export period. So that's actually working quite well. And if you look at my costs now, you can see I started with a baseline of about £3 because I charged the car overnight last night. And it's saying by the end of the day I'll be £2.77 because I'm going to make some profit from the export. Sorry, that's the end of tomorrow, not the end of today. If you actually look at the end of today, it's actually going to be, well, depends what time you saw it, about £3 anyway. The baseline, if Predbat didn't intervene, was £3.60, so it's actually going to save me about 80 odd p. Obviously, looking at this best 10, you can see if the solar forecast turns out bad, then it's going to cost a bit more because we're not going to be able to export as much, obviously, and there may be some more imports. So that's all looking good, but what I'm going to do now is turn on the new feature, which is discharge freeze. When I turn on discharge freeze, it's essentially going to, rather than exporting down to the level and then stopping completely, it will, as soon as an export slot's enabled, if the battery is below the level specified, it will just freeze charging the battery and allow the solar to export without discharging the battery further, and then it'll turn it back on again, obviously at the end of the slot. So now you can see we've got a bit of a discharge happening here, and then we've got a second slot which is a freeze only slot because it's above the level of the battery, where all I'm going to do is export my excess solar during that period. And so at the moment it's making a marginal difference, mainly because it's a cloudy day and the solar's not too good. But what you'll actually see on a sunnier day, that's actually quite effective, because otherwise you're going to get export slots and then more charging from solar and then more exports again, whereas in this case you can essentially have it freeze the battery and just let the solar trickle directly out and avoid the battery charging losses. And so that can be quite effective. Also, depending on your import tariff, maybe you don't, if the rates are a bit different, then you might find that you can charge less overnight and then just export your solar in the day in excess of what you actually need, rather than putting it back into the battery at all. So I quite like using that feature that was recently added. So I think that's it from the Octopus Agile export. Obviously, if you were to have the fixed rate one, things would be slightly different. And maybe I'll come back and make another video and talk about the fixed rate Octopus Intelligent next time. Thanks then.